Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today's challenge, over 100 of you have wanted me to partake in what I've dubbed the impossible scope loadout. The way it works, and some of you may have already noticed this, is that every time I aim down sight, there isn't the red dot on the scope. It's gone, it's completely invisible, and so essentially, I have to divine, I have to predict where the center of the scope is every single time that I squeeze the trigger. If you're not aware, with the most recent patch update, we now have the ability to change how bright the red dot is on all of the scopes. If you want it to be really bright and obvious, you want to know where it is at all times, then you can max it out. But also, and essentially what we've done in today's video, you can bring it all the way to 0 where it becomes completely invisible. And so when you guys recommended this challenge, a lot of you just said use whatever loadout. Doesn't matter if you're using assault rifle, LMGs, use whatever you want and just attempt it that way. Honestly, I actually found this to be a little bit too easy with the assault rifles. You may be thinking, well, how is that the case? I mean, you're still having to predict where the middle of your scope is. Wouldn't that be challenging? And while I would agree with you, it wasn't the easiest thing in the game. It'd be far easier if I did have the RDS. But you also have to remember that with the patch, they've added in the tracer rounds. Every time that you squeeze the trigger and the bullets are flying at the target, you can now see them fly through the air. It wasn't as obvious before the patch, and so now every time I line it up, I might be off for the first couple of rounds, but as long as I'm watching where my tracer rounds are heading, I can quickly correct, get on target, and take people out at pretty much every distance. I was taking people out 50 meters away, 30, 2 feet in front of me. Didn't really matter because of those tracer rounds. I know that some people haven't been too thrilled with this addition because they find it jarring and it screws up their accuracy, but I gotta say, just after an hour, especially just using it exclusively for this challenge, I think it's solid. I think it's a nice addition to the game. It was really the only reason why I was able to go on these extended kill streaks, and while I think there might be a few bugs and glitches associated with this, I know that some people are reporting that when you strafe, your bullets don't go exactly where the tracer rounds are indicating. So as long as DICE is able to tighten that up a bit, I really have no problem, at least with the tracer rounds. And so the fact that I found this challenge to be just a little bit too easy with the assault rifles, or basically all of the automatic weapons in the game, I decided to ramp up the stakes. You guys know me, I like to make things even just more ridiculous, and use a bolt action sniper rifle. This was a punishing loadout. Like, this was simply ridiculous because no longer can I rely on the tracer rounds to guide where I should be, adjusting my sight. Every time I squeezed the trigger, it was basically a flip of the coin if I was gonna line up that headshot. I mean, there were moments where I just was firing about 10 rounds, my entire magazine, at an enemy, trying to secure a kill. Granted, they were moving around everywhere, so it wasn't like they were just standing still, making themselves an easy target, but I went through all 10 rounds and missed every single one of them because, of course, I don't have the RDS to guide my shot. And so, while I would like to say that I was improving, I really think the only way that I would be able to do this consistently, and if you wanted to do as well as using like the assault rifle, for example, you would basically have to turn your glow all the way to 0 and run with this loadout for hours. You would have to do this basically all day long for weeks on end to be even somewhat consistent with it. Like, I honestly have no idea how you'd be able to get headshot after headshot consistently unless you were cheating. Admittedly, I did think about a few ways that I could have cheated this loadout, but then I thought, like, what's the point? Not only do I not make these to trick you, I make them to be entertaining, but I also do this because it's challenging. Like, I enjoy this probably just as much as you guys. Battlefield 4 has been out for a long time now, and one of the ways that I keep it fresh and fun is with this series. It scratches that itch for me. I could run around with the best weapons in the game. I could use the Ace 23, the AEK, and dominate the competition. And that's enjoyable. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also like to think about combat differently and approach it with these challenges. And so if I did decide to cheat, not only would that have been dishonest to you guys, which I never want to be, but it also would have completely defeated the purpose from my standpoint because, yeah, I create the videos for you, but I also do it for me to scratch that itch. That being said though, one of the ways that I could have cheated is I remember back to the Call of Duty days that a lot of kids would place a little dot on their computer screen or on their television, letting them know that every time that they aim down sight with a bolt action rifle, that would be basically where their scope was aiming. This was an easy way for them to do quick scopes. I mean, you guys know quick scoping has been a huge part of the Call of Duty franchise, I think all the way back in Call of Duty 4. Maybe it was more prevalent in Modern Warfare. But it's been in the series for a very long time now, and this was one of the tactics that a lot of people use so that they could have that advantage. I could have done this. I could have put a little sticker on my computer screen that would have let me know pretty much where the red dot sight was, and then I could get headshots all game long and be like, oh, hey, look at how awesome I am. I have the accuracy of a god. I don't even need a red dot sight to know what I'm shooting at. I'm gonna get headshots back to back. That's what I could have done, but hopefully throughout today's video, I've illustrated that there's a lot of edits here. There's a lot of times where I am switching between clips because just getting one kill was a challenge. If I was able to get 2 or 3 kills back to back, I was giddy like a little schoolgirl. And it really just came down to the fact that there was a lot of luck involved and it was ridiculously challenging to drop an enemy with that one round. And so if you are looking to challenge yourself, while I definitely wouldn't recommend this loadout, if you want to get acclimated to the new tracer rounds, you want to have that where it's not as jarring and it doesn't screw up your accuracy, it might be a good idea just to completely turn off the glow, go into the settings, turn it all the way to 0, and then just rely on the tracer rounds. You'll quickly figure out that, yeah, they're pretty, for the most part, they're aiming exactly where they should be, and at least for me, now that I've jumped and started using the red dot how you are supposed to be, it was a great way for me to get acclimated to that new mechanic. But overall, while I would like to claim that my skill was a large contributor in my success, and while there were a few rounds where that was the case, I was in the zone more than others and I was getting headshots a little bit more consistently, for the most part, this was just a lot of luck if I was going to be able to drop the enemy with one round. It was still fun, it was enjoyable, but I think the only way that I'd be able to do this reliably is if I use this loadout for like 10, 20 hours consistently, and then even then, I don't even know if I would be any better than I was right now. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's challenge. I hope you enjoyed. If you have a loadout that you would like me to try next, let me know down below. This is a series that is based off of your recommendations, and so if there is a weapon that you would like me to use with a terrible combination of attachments, or just a gadget that you would like me to use exclusively, let me know down below. But until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.